Okay, somebody wants to sell products on Amazon, but Amazon USA is going to sell to the US market. So what taxes should they consider? Good question. It all depends. As you know, with these things, the answer is it all depends, right? And it depends on where you are, first and foremost, like where you're going to be sitting. Are you going to be sitting in Bali? Are you going to be sitting in Dubai? Are you going to be sitting in Portugal, Mexico? Or are you going to be sitting in the US? And are you US exposed or not? So the first thing you didn't specify is if you are US exposed, well, that kind of puts you in a category of your own. You're taxing your worldwide income regardless of where you reside. It doesn't matter whether you are in Detroit or in Dubai. You're going to be taxing your worldwide income by the IRS. So your personal income, and if you're running this Amazon store through a company, that company is also assuming that you 100% own and control that company, then it's subject to CFC rule, control foreign corp rules, and it'll be taxable to your US return under the GILTI regime. That's the Global Intangible Low Tax Income Tax. That's assuming, now let's assume that you are not in a tax-free jurisdiction like Dubai or on the welcome stamp in Barbados. Let's assume that you are in a jurisdiction that will tax you, for example, let's assume you're in Bali, or you are in Malaysia, in Penang or whatever. So then another perspective to consider is the jurisdiction in which you're operating this company. Most jurisdictions have some variation of management and control rules, or mind and management, or nexus, permanent establishment, you know, different terms to denote the same thing, which is the idea that if you are running a company from their jurisdiction and economic activity is taking place within their borders, even though that company is incorporated in another jurisdiction, it matters not. Mind and management exists where you are as the 100% owner, director, CEO, and you're sitting in their jurisdiction. There would be potentially corporate tax exposure on your business. So that's something else to consider. Last but not least, this is the US. You're going to be, you said you're going to want to sell, you want to sell in the Amazon store to the US. So you have to consider both direct and indirect taxes. So the indirect taxes would be your sales and use taxes, which would be called GST or VAT in some other jurisdictions. So sales and use taxes would occur on the physical products that you sell. It historically, and when I say historically, like pre-2017, you would be taxed where the goods are being warehoused. So what you do is you look at Amazon, because Amazon is, you're assuming you're doing Amazon FBA, right? So Amazon is doing all the fulfillment. So Amazon will kind of tell you where your goods are being warehoused in terms of their logistics, and wherever it is being warehoused, so there's a physical presence in its state. That typically would trigger sales and use tax. But then there was a landmark court judgment in 2017, which means that sales and use tax, generally speaking, is no longer triggered by physical nexus, but by economic nexus. And that means that it's not about where the physical goods are only. It's also where, you know, where the consumers, where the buyers. So even though, let's say you're in, your goods are being stored in a warehouse, an Amazon warehouse in New Jersey, but people are buying it in New York and it's above a certain threshold, yeah, it may trigger sales and use taxes in New York. So indirect taxes, last but not least, will be your direct taxes, because by virtue of triggering indirect taxes, particularly where there's a physical nexus, certain states in our experience of this stuff, they will get really aggressive. And I know the US has a reputation for being a really complex tax system. The IRS isn't the most efficient tax administration, but remember, you have 50 states under it, and the states that do have sales and use tax, they tend to be a lot more efficient, a lot more vigilant than the IRS. So keep that in mind. So the states, when you trigger that sales and use tax, the states will jump on it, depending on the nature, whether, let's say you have a physical warehouse, storage in an Amazon warehouse in North Carolina. North Carolina might say, hey, hold on. We see that physical nexus, we see you. And we think you're due to pay some corporate income tax based on your company selling in Carolina. I know that you're outside of the US, but direct taxes or corporate income taxes are due as well. And then that potentially may lead to federal taxes. So the point is, it gets really complex. To summarize, you're looking at direct and indirect taxes in the US. You're looking at corporate taxes wherever you're running this company from outside of the US. And you're looking at personal taxes wherever you are in the world. So you'd want to sit with a qualified advisor and kind of talk it through someone who's experienced with Amazon sellers. And that's kind of like a niche thing. We've had quite a few clients, from the low end, high 6, low 7 figures, and for those with 8 and 9 figures as well. So either myself, I'll pass you on to Aaron, and we have an interview, a long form interview, like over an hour with Aaron on our website. So if you go to hj.tax, or you just go to our YouTube channel, and you can pull up that interview, and he goes way deep. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, Aaron is your guy. Him and his team have spent their life on sales and use taxes. These guys are gurus. Yes, you can look at software. Like, I don't want to call the name, but if you Google it, there are 2 software providers that will pop up. They're brilliant, absolutely. But if it is that you're a seller from outside of the US, sales and use taxes are complicated on their own, but combine that with the fact that you're from outside of the US, it gets really more complex. Many of the states still require manual registration, so software cannot help you. And, some of the reporting still may be manual. So the software can help a whole bunch, but it's not a panacea. It's not a silver bullet. So you probably want to think about getting some advice. Okay? Hope that helps you.
So if you're a 6, 7, or 8-figure investor, entrepreneur, or business owner who needs a tailor-made solution from a qualified team of professionals, we can help you achieve the international lifestyle, the freedom, and even the tax savings you're looking for. Visit us at htj.tax and live that international life.